record to this computer. All right. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Waikoloa on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yay! And we have Lori on as a panelist. Because she's so fun. She loves to do that with me. Hooray. So what will it be today?
Well, I have been having some talks with a lot of new people.
Yeah?
Yes. It's so weird how the connections and how they found me and heard my webinar or my little thing I do.
Uh-huh.
God, it's so much fun.
It is. It's really fun to communicate. Definitely.
Yeah. It lights me up.
I see that. It's so fun. I'm so happy. Me too.
Yeah.
That's why I keep coming back.
Yeah. And there are things that I say to the seeming others that I've never said before.
Right.
As it's coming out, I'm going, wow, I've never said this before. Wow.
Yes. It's like the teachers of teachers are unseen, but their thoughts are given to you. They're automatically coming through. They're streaming through when you're open to it, especially when you're talking with people.
The teachers are, say that again, slower.
The teachers of teachers, unseen, because they cannot be made manifest in the world like a dense physical body. They can be made manifest in the world to those who can accept seeing them without fear, because they just can like almost magically disappear and appear like that, and that's what and that's where it goes. It's like you become a teacher of teachers once all of the guilt in your mind has been erased. Then you're not a body. You're not perceived as a body. You're not perceived as one of the worldly creatures.
That's where the freedom really is, not being identified with this body.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, for sure. And the density too, and it's like the body density. It's a lot. A lot of people don't really realize it, but if you can be perceived as a body, there's a lot of density going on where we just got used to. It's like when you first take on a birth, it's like, whoa, this is intense. That's why they're like, what the heck? Baby's like, what is this?
I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't want this. Let me back. So all that density comes from the mind. So it's guilt in the mind, and that's why we can perceive and be perceived in a manifest world. And so our function here is to, as you could say, teachers, and anyone who's willing takes on a teaching role. You don't necessarily have to be doing a broadcast like we're doing right here. It's just a demonstration that the guilt is not real. Guilt, punishment, death, all those kinds of things are not necessary. Another one that I've been talking about lately, and especially today on Facebook, is discipline. That sense that we need some kind of discipline, the sense that we can be disciplined, that like we can use that as a tool to get what we want. Whether it be disciplining ourselves or disciplining another person, and that goes for anything like holding a person accountable. Holding anyone accountable for their actions. Well, there really aren't any actions. Nothing really happened. And that's the thing. It's as we teach, we learn. As we teach this, we learn it. We learn it more for ourselves until there's no necessity for us to be functioning as a physical body, as a physical being like that. Not even, this is something that I've said before. You can't fake it, because if people can perceive you You still got some working out to do. That doesn't mean you're flawed in any way, shape, or form. And that's really important to recognize. It's not like since you are perceiving in separation and people can perceive you as a separate body, it's not like you're flawed in some way. It's just that's where the belief has been set in motion. The belief in separation has been set in motion. It doesn't mean you're really separate. That would be impossible, and that's why you're not flawed. It's just that, and you could see how you're upholding the belief in separation anytime you feel upset or anything like that. Anytime you feel worried, scared, frustrated, anything like that, that's holding up the belief in separation. It's a choice you're making in the moment to uphold the belief in separation. But of course, you're never ever flawed. It's just a habit to believe because of the fear of going back to reality. Fear of the defense mechanism that's put up is that if you go back to reality, you're just going to be killed immediately because you're not worthy of it. See, so the learning here is to recognize that is a lie, and the lie is being projected in a lot of different ways. So I like to bring up the different ways that lie is being projected, and one of them is most certainly this idea of self-discipline, and that plays out in a lot of different and strange ways. If you perceive yourself doing something that's good for you, like say you decided, apparently you decided, but really it was just a thought. You decided, let's say, to stop eating chips. Okay, just to throw something out there. Just stop eating chips for a year or something like that, right? And so as soon as you identify with that as if you decided that, as if you had something to do with it, that's upholding the illusion. And then watch the suffering that comes, there's pride and then there's shame again. There's pride in being able to stay away from the chips. And then there's shame again with, you find yourself eating the chips. Or maybe you don't find yourself eating the chips because you seem to have such good willpower, and there's still a feeling of victimization that you just can't have what you want. I've also seen it manifest in a way like there's so much pride about it because of the seeming willpower that the projections end up going apparently towards someone else, but there isn't anyone else. See, so say you perceive yourself, well, I don't even want any chips. I don't want any chips. What's wrong with those people over there? They can't help themselves, and that's the same thing. That's still a self-reflection. That's still upholding the illusion. So it just comes down to recognizing what we're using to hold it up, what we're using to make it real. And that's where there's an undoing, and it's kind of like a gradual process because, in the illusion of time, it's been a gradual process of building up too. It was a gradual process of building up. Even before the world was made manifest, it was thought after thought after thought about guilty consciousness arising and arising, and then the world gets made manifest. See, and then once the world is made manifest, you take on a birth, and then there's all this learning, and see how it happens over time. See, you learn that you're this body, you learn that you have this name, you learn that you have these responsibilities, maybe you have this mom and dad, maybe you have some special abilities apparently. So that's why the undoing occurs over time. So it's like it's all day long, all throughout the day, there's these what I've called ego attacks. Now this isn't something to isn't something to get up in arms about. You don't need a defense to the ego attacks because the ego attacks aren't real. Okay, I had one friend yesterday tell me that he had an ego attack, and the way he was talking about it was like, ugh, like that, and it's like, well, that's not really the way it's approached with much more gentleness. It's just in recognizing that is, and basically what I mean by an ego attack, it's like guilty consciousness being made manifest. So, if you perceive yourself like my friend did with having an injury, he had a machete injury, ended up with blood spurting out of his leg, getting stitches and everything. So sweet. And, really feeling like he screwed up, really feeling like he screwed up. And that's the thing, that's the trick, to make it so that the guilt is projected again and again. And the teaching is to go to gentleness. Go to gentleness. It's in recognizing what it is. It's in recognizing that in recognizing that no one can do anything wrong. No one can make any mistake. It's just really simply and lightly held, oh, this is guilty consciousness made manifest. No, I didn't do anything wrong to make the machete, in the material world, the thoughts will start going, oh, maybe the manufacturer screwed it up. That's why we have lawsuits. So you can go, okay, who's responsible for my injury? You get in a car accident and it's like, who's responsible for this? And it's like, if there's just a willingness there to recognize that this is guilty consciousness playing out in a gentle way, in a gentle fashion, that's how it gets undone. See, it just keeps on getting unwound, because when you admit to yourself what it really is, then it takes away from the illusion. It takes the power away from the illusion. It seems difficult in the moment because the habit is to blame, either blame yourself or blame someone else, or try to find out, hey, why did I make this manifest? Just forget about all that, because that's past. It's the past playing out. You don't have to. You might have the revelation. You might have the revelation. You might not have the revelation, and that's okay too. What's important is that you admit it to yourself that it's guilty consciousness playing out, but in a way that's not like, damn it. See? And then even if you find yourself with that, damn it, there's gentleness with that as well.
Okay, it's okay.
Exactly. Yes, it always comes back like that. So just watch when you get up in arms, because that's what feeds the ego. And I have a hand. This is so fun. It's Bob Shine. Allow Bob Shine to talk and then unmute him. Let's see if we got it. Bob Shine. Wait, why isn't it unmuting him? Oh, yay. Here you are.
How come I'm Bob Asinine?
You typed that in.
I typed it in.
Oh, fabulous.
Fabulous, truly
So
fabulous.
if you want to come on the video, you can. I can promote you to the panelist.
Okay, yeah.
You want to?
Why not?
Okay.
Let's see.
It's fun. Do it. It's fun. Everyone's doing it, Bob.
We see the top of his head.
Yeah, here we go. He's got a lightning bolt on his shirt. That's cute.
All right. Wow. the Titanic trio.
That's
How
right.
exciting.
That's right.
So what are you doing there in Waikoloa?
Well, I came to the main reason is to see Aladdin in the luxury theater that's over here.
Oh, okay. So you're staying in some Airbnb or something?
No, I'm staying with Molly.
Oh, so that's Anon and Molly's place?
Yes, it is. That's right. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Anon's your daughter. She stays here too.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, because they've been taking spectacular pictures of the ocean and sunset.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where I was for my retreat too.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that was a while ago. You and Molly, she really upped your health quotient, huh?
We had a beautiful time together. She took sweet care of me while I was silent for 4 days.
Wow. Oh, okay. So yeah, you were silent.
Yeah. And this is where I stayed. You see all the plumeria. We don't have all that plumeria in Puna.
Right. It's a lot
Drier.
different climate there.
Yes,
Yeah.
the desert.
Right. Well, here on Volcano, it's been raining a lot.
Oh yeah, Puna too.
Oh, yeah. You've been getting rain there at your place?
Totally. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. It's not just here.
Well, at Kalani, that was the first time I saw plumeria. Kalani had plenty of.
Oh yeah, Kalani was always a drier climate than where I stay though. Even before where my house was, we were a lot wetter. You don't have to go too far to get wetter.
Yeah.
Kalani is definitely a drier area.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no plumeria around it. Yeah, I can't say all of Puna because way down there by Kalapana, and it only takes a few miles to change the climate a lot.
Well, there in Waikolo, it's pretty deserty, right?
Oh yeah, it's like looks like a tumbleweed's gonna go by any minute.
Yeah, well, we have the most diverse climate zones of anywhere in the world. So
For sure.
come up here where I live, it's so different, and yeah,
You live in a cloud most of the time.
right.
There's like a rain cloud going on.
Hmm.
Cold.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of
sauna time.
cold here.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, I'm just having the most intense day. So, I came here to this Akuaha eco resort, Darshan Mendoza. She's got an Airbnb and yurts, and she has like conferences and spiritual workshops. We just had dream weavers, lucid dreaming, Toltec philosophy, and so then there's dogs, there's cat, there's a aquaponics garden, yurts. When they have conferences and workshops, I clean and do all the landscaping and everything. And so but it seems as if my guilt complex, as you're talking about, is reared its head
Great.
against my life. So I've had this pattern where the different places where I was caretakers, the women who I lived with there were just like really cruel, like uh, guilting, complexing me, treating me like a slave.
Uh-huh.
And so that's kind of it's kind of turned ugly with Darshan, who
Oh.
lived here. So she would get angry at things that I felt I was innocent about. And then she would blame me for being passive aggressive, and she's the one that's all angry.
Okay. Okay.
And but you had posted something a little while ago about how, if I have repressed or unhealed anger in me, that it'll reflect in other people being angry at me, that it's due to some suppressed or unhealed or undealt with rage within myself that would be reflected.
Okay, yes, but because what I see going on is that you're taking it on as if that in you, as if you're flawed somehow. See, you're not flawed in any way. That's the thing. And when it's presented to you, like say Darshan comes up and she's angry with you, right? And she looks angry with you, but you're really misinterpreting that. She cannot possibly be angry with you. You're just making a misinterpretation. See, what I see going on is you're immediately going into self-judgment with this. You're immediately going into self-judgment as if either you or her needs to be flawed. Either you or her are doing it wrong. She's coming at you with all this anger. It looks like, but this having someone come at you with a bunch of anger is a habit. You see that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You see how that's
yes. Over and over again.
Yes, but you don't need to go into yourself and try to root out where you're making it, because it's all right in the moment. It's just right there. In the moment when she's approaching you and she seems so angry like that, will you just admit to yourself that you're making it up?
That I'm making it up.
Yes. that you're not seeing her clearly right now. Forget about all the stuff about what you think you have within yourself and all that, but just that you're making this up right now, because that's what gets that holy fire burning. It's really it's like the hardest thing, because it takes some intense focus in the moment. It takes some intense focus. You have someone coming at you, apparently. There's no way anyone's ever coming at you, but apparently someone's coming at you, and they seem so angry with you, and in that moment, are you willing? Are you willing? That's the only question there is right now, right in this moment. Are you willing to recognize that you're making it up? Just so you can feel guilty.
So, so then why would I want to make that up? Just to feel guilty.
Okay, just forget about that part. Okay, that's just the ego again. Forget about why. We've already talked about that a bunch of times. See, you don't need to even go into that, because that why, that's asking, well, how am I flawed that I did that?
So if I'm making it up, then I can maybe make up some more loving, kind interactions with
you. Don't have to try to do that, because that's who you are. You don't have to try to do that. So in the moment where there's willingness to recognize that you're making it up, that's where you get the feeling effect of it. That's where you're allowing compassion for yourself. And in that allowing compassion for yourself, it's going to flow to the other person, because the other person is actually you. See? So it's like in the moment she's coming at you, hey Bob, you're freaking whatever. I don't know what she's saying, but and then it's like, if you could just go, ooh, and realize that you're making it up, it's like, what comes out is something to the effect of, wow, Darshan, thank you for letting me know that. And it's not like, well, you're angry, and it's not even a thought like that, so you're not putting up any kind of invisible wall either. It's just like, wow, thank you. And because that's what you feel within, because you understand that you're making it up. And why? Okay, now let's say why are you making it up? Why are you making it up? For healing, because you can. It's not because you're flawed. It's for healing, because you can. And you know how fun it is? I can't even express how fun it is in the moment when someone's coming at you, apparently, as if they're angry with you, and you recognize that you're making it up. At first it feels like a real challenge, because you're not used to it. You're in the habit of becoming defensive. And because you're in that habit of becoming defensive, you perceive the other person as becoming defensive towards you. See? So it's like, it's just because you're used to that habit. So maybe the first couple times, it's going to be really difficult. It's almost like you have to stand firm in this understanding, with a willingness to understand, even a willingness to understand, I'm making this up. I've talked before about how it was first played out for me, when I recognized in Vipassana that nothing can occur in my experience that doesn't come from my body's energy field. That's where I knew it was all coming from my own mind. I was like, wow, this is all coming from my own mind, and knew that it was going to feel like a challenge to actually play it out like that, to actually stand in that and play that out like that. It's going to feel like a challenge, but you know what? It was so exciting to know. And if you just have faith right now that you are making it up, and you're willing to see that in the moment, you're willing to go through that fire. It's heat. It's like heat. It's like pain. It's difficult, and it's only difficult because we've made it difficult up to that point because of the habit that's been playing out of getting defensive whenever anyone comes up and says something about how we haven't performed correctly. See, but once you go through it at the first couple of times, I don't know how many times it takes for each person, but just being willing to sustain this intent over time, being willing to keep being willing, basically, no matter how many times it comes up, it gets to be really fun. To the point where you're really grateful. You're really grateful when a person comes up to you and tells you what a fucker you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, well, it is a miracle. It's a miracle the way that plays out.
Mm.
Because you see all this tension, you're perceiving all this tension, and it's just like there's this openness to it. There's not a fear of what's going to happen. There's not a fear of getting fired, that there's not a fear of the relationship ending, because there's a recognition that this is all for healing, and it's all in my mind. See? So it's like we every time we have a conversation, you're getting closer to that willingness. You're moving yourself closer to that willingness. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be having a conversation with me about it. See?
Yes. Well, that's
you have that faith that is occurring, and that you are able to maybe you could say bring the miracle down to earth.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's I'm creating it out of my guilt, huh?
No, you're not creating it. You can only create in love. You're only created for loving and being loved, and you're making it up.
Oh, so making it up and creating are two different things?
Totally. See,
so the making up is more of a illusion, a fantasy.
it's a total fantasy. You're not even seeing Darshan as she is. She can only come to you in love. She can only come to you in love, no matter what you see. You just have to deny the evidence of what you see. It's like you feel it, but you deny that it's really true by recognizing that you're making it up. It feels really real, and you allow yourself to get the feeling. But when you deny what it's really that it's really a real thing, like you created it. If you created it, you're screwed, because then you are flawed. You didn't create it, I promise.
It can't be real because it's so, like you say, negative and guilt-ridden. That's
right.
A bunch of mental, masturbation or whatever.
Exactly. And it can turn on a dime. You're gonna see, Bob, it's gonna turn on a dime for you. And one of these instances, one of these days, when you have one of these women who is repeatedly telling you stuff, one of these days you're gonna see for yourself, oh wow. But it takes willingness. And if you remember, it takes willingness. It's like, okay, let me see. You can go to let me see. Early on for me, I felt like I always felt like I wanted to hit my son. I always felt like I wanted to hit my son or yell at him or just get some kind of an emotion off of myself toward him, And in the early days when it first occurred to me that this is all coming out of my mind, I felt like I was gonna go there. I felt like I was gonna go to, I just gotta get the fuck away from you, whatever. And in my mind, it was just like there was this call, just like, help me, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And instantly the help came. But see, it's like an earnest, the help is asking for help to not go down the same path again. That's the right kind of help to ask for. It's not the kind of help to help me show this person that they're the ones that are screwed up and coming to me in anger, or help me get rid of this flaw of mine. It's more like, just help me not to go down that same path again where I'm attacking myself. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in being the truth. And then you enter, and then it's like you enter this energy where this heaviness is just lifted. It's just uplifted. And because you are so persistent, keep on coming back to wisdom dialogues and pretty much asking the same question again and again, you're ripe. It's going to occur for you. Can you trust that?
Oh yeah. Well, you haven't heard the rest of the story. So then, we have conferences, we have workshops. 10 or so people come. So then Darshan was really pushing me hard, giving me all these tasks, removing fences, taking away gardens, cleaning, and which is good. I love doing that, but she was just really overloading me. It's like she wanted me to do so much. And so then today we went to the dump, and we were going to have a wedding here, and she was so nice, oh, I want to buy you some nice clothes for the wedding, and she was so sweet and everything. And I was just exhausted. I spent days, landscaping the property, cleaning, removing, it's just like I worked. She demanded so much of me, and I was just exhausted. And so then she comes in the house, and then she starts like nitpicking. Oh, this shower is wet. The shower needs to be dried off, And I said, well, you never asked me to dry a shower before, why? It's dry in an hour. And then she started saying, this drawer, there's something, this closet, this rug, and was just going on and on. And it was just, she was just on me, and so intense and angry. It's like, what am I, your slave? It's like, here I've done all this work, this place is beautiful, all ready for the guests. So the guests are 13 women that want to have a women's retreat, and I'm the man here.
Yeah.
So then, I had to be in communication with Darshan. Said, oh, well, we have this male caretaker, and he will be in the background, and he will just come forward when needed, and it's like I'm feeling like, well, they don't want me here. I'm not a woman. They want their women's retreat. They don't want a man hanging around. So it's like the women are arriving, and then today is when Darshan had this blow up, and I had been talking to Michelle about returning to her place as the caretaker.
Oh, how awesome.
Because I miss you.
Because you miss me. Okay.
I miss you. I need you. I need your enlightenment. I need to be there on Mondays. It's like,
Too much fun.
she's been talking to me. I've called her about it because, I miss that area, and I miss you. And, we've been talking. She's got this giant pavilion thing. I mean, she could have
I've been in it.
Skating rink in there. It's just massive. I don't know what she wants to have in there, something so huge. So, we had planned a Love Thy Neighbor gathering, and then she had to cancel because she's been in some drama with this caretaker that moved in that wouldn't move out. And so then, she's been having her dramas.
Okay, so I'm sure the story goes on and on and on.
Right, but anyway, so now I called her, and she has invited me to come. So I'm going to be leaving here maybe tomorrow or the next day. She's going to let me borrow her truck to take all my stuff and come stay. She's got this other couple that might be the caretaker, but I can stay there and see if maybe there's some other living option or work trade or house sitting or whatever. So I'm going to be there tomorrow. The next day I'm moving. So all of this energy, all of this stuff that's happened has been like a real powerful movement of energy and so then what's interesting is that this 9-day retreat for the women, Anon is the chef. Anon is doing the cooking for them.
Your daughter, yeah.
My daughter. So she was the one, her and I, you remember you came to the dinner party here that she had. And so then, when the lava hit, they invited us to come up here and evacuate. So it's so fascinating that she was here in the beginning when I first moved here. Now she's going to be showing up soon to cook the dinner for the ladies, and she's going to be here when I'm leaving. I'm moving out.
Nice.
So yeah.
So that's not going to, the moving out, of course, isn't what heals that pattern of energy. The moving out is definitely not what heals that pattern of energy. Basically, you and Darshan are being drawn apart because there's no more healing to be done with you together. That's always what it is. If you're being drawn apart from one another for whatever reason, it's because there's no more healing to be done together. And really, we're drawn together for healing. That's all we're drawn together for. And what I mean, when I say drawn together, I mean drawn like a picture, because there's only one of us. So there's just a picture like we're drawn together. And, that I can see a lot of things. I can see how a lot of different patterns are playing out here. Like, this idea with Darshan asking you to clean the shower, immediately the thought that comes up is a defensive thought. Immediately the thought that comes up, because it seems like she might be a little bit testy when she's asking that. And wow, I didn't know to do that because you never asked me to do that before. So that's a dance that you dance. That's a dance that you dance by believing in those thoughts. See, those thoughts could just occur to you and then pass. And then Darshan would also, you would perceive in your mind's eye, Darshan's tenseness, Darshan's perceived upset calming down because of the way you took it in a calm way. And all that takes is letting those thoughts, like the one that says, well, you never asked me to do that before, or why are you acting so angry? You're letting those to go. You're just allowing them to pass you by. So you're not going to get out of having those kinds of dances. You're not going to get out of having those kinds of perceptions by moving away from Darshan. It's just very likely that you're going to go over to Michelle's and have the same kind of experience again with Michelle. So it has to get to the point for you before it's going to heal where you feel excited about that, or you feel excited that you're going to be invited into one of these dances again. Because when you can sense some excitement about that, then when it takes place, when someone's looking at you like, hey, Bob, you should know better. You should be doing it like this. And then the thought occurs to you, well, geez, how could I have known? You've never asked me to do it like that before. I've been working my butt off and all this other stuff. You're allowing that to just pass and be like, okay, just okay. See this. Taking on these thoughts as if they're true is a way of running. It's a way of distracting yourself from the feeling that's coming up. It's hard at first to get that feeling. It's hard at first to get that feeling. Like it seems like, wow, they really want me to be so much more than I think I can even be. They're working me. That was the same perception you had with Michelle's before, over at Michelle's before, And then it comes to back over to Michelle. Well, Michelle is definitely, you and Michelle, you're not the same as you were before. You're definitely not the same as you were before. But what I see is that for the both of you, these patterns are still up. So it may just be where you and Michelle are coming back together. Both of you are so much more willing that there's going to be an amazing healing here. See?
Well,
So
good. I
so exciting.
Yes. So I just have to, instead of questioning or, not just allowing or giving in and saying thank you or whatever.
Yeah, quiet that shit down. Be willing to shut your mouth. Let the thought occur to you, but be willing to be quiet so you can feel. When you talk, you can't feel. When you talk like that, when you talk that way, you have this is a conflicted thought that tells you how are they coming at me like this? How are they putting all this? How are they working me like this, like a slave and all that kind of stuff? This is a pattern for you. No one's out there. No one's out there. So if you're willing to recognize no one's out there, you're going to get this feeling. And I'm telling you, just because of the way I can see that you've been protecting this for a very long time, it's going to be very painful. And you might screw up a couple times and say, whatever. And not that you really can screw up, it's just like it's just a figure of speech. You can't get it wrong, but you might perceive yourself speaking. Forgive that right away. Just forgive that right away and keep on being willing to get the feeling, because the thing is, the feeling that's going to come up for you is going to be perceived as so painful, just because of all the defensiveness that's built up. But that pain is really just a perception. When you go through it, you're going to see it's nothing. It's like mist. And then you're also going to have the perception of everything calming down, including the other person. The other person's reaction to you is still your own mind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you right now sense that this is possible?
Well, of course, yes.
Have a miracle occur.
Right. So then you're saying that maybe with Michelle and I coming back together, we can enact a miracle together.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And you only do it together. This never happens alone. See, even though there's only one of us, we're coming together. We're being drawn together as individuals. Even though there's only one of us, and being drawn together like that for healing. But one thing you have to recognize is it's not up to Michelle.
Right. It's up to me to keep my mouth shut.
Well, and it's not just keeping your mouth shut. That's just one part of it. Because the keeping your mouth shut, it's kind of like a gesture of I'm willing to feel this now. It's really important that you get that feeling. And what I see is there's major defense in your mind against getting the feeling. You do not want that feeling. And
well, the feeling, I guess, is guilt, right? What's the feeling?
Yeah, it's a manifestation of guilt. Yeah, it's intense. I mean, for me and for a lot of people that I've talked to that have had this experience, and you haven't had the experience yet. Otherwise, you wouldn't talk the way you do. You have not had the experience yet, but you will. You definitely will. And
what?
The experience of allowing that guilty feeling to just be there and be hot and burning in your body. Because once you have that experience, then there's no questioning it like that. And there's no questioning it like that. So there's a willingness to get that experience, and it's a healing experience. It's like a healing experience. And once you got that experience, you're excited. You're excited about it. It's like, yes, someone comes up to you and says something like, hey, you didn't do that right. In your mind, you're kind of like, yes. But, outwardly, you're just calm. And it's like, okay, thank you. Now, outwardly, you're just calm. You're not argumentative about it. You're not trying to show them anything. You're not trying to teach them anything. The teaching is in your demonstration of kindness and calmness.
So then sounds like I'm defending myself against feeling my guilt.
Well, it's not your guilt, and that's why you would have to defend against it if you think it's yours. You don't have any guilt. You're 100% innocent, Bob.
Right. That's just it. So in all these scenarios, I feel totally innocent, and I'm being, guilted.
Well, that's ego innocence, because you're defensive at the same time.
Yeah. Right. So
Molly has something to share.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to comment on something you said earlier about the women's retreat.
Yeah.
And what I heard was that you felt like this burden, this not wanted, like you were taking it very personally about the fact that you are a man and you happen to be there as the caretaker, and the women say, okay, well, we'll work with it. And me leading women's retreats before, I've been in that exact situation where there would be a man on property, and we would say, okay, well, we'll work with it. And it's not because I don't like the man and I don't want the man around. It's because we're holding a group of women that know that they're coming to a women's retreat. But here the man is there serving, keeping the property functioning. We need him there. So we're going to work with it. If we didn't need him there, he wouldn't be there. It's no kind of man bashing, and it's absolutely not personal. It's just that for whatever reason, for women's retreats, so women can do women things or be naked or whatever it is that is part of a women's retreat, then they just work around you know, having a man there. It's not, there's no kind of man hating. And I just really heard that was really personal for you. And that reminds me of this sort of like guilt or unwanted or burden, and you not actually seeing yourself as innocent in that way, like seeing yourself negatively. And it's not even a negative or a personal thing. It just happens to be that it's a women's retreat and that you're a man and that you need to be there and they need to work around that.
Yeah, well, they were willing to do that, but yeah, of course, in the beginning, you know, we had a Facebook chat group, and you know, I was just saying, I'm sorry that I have to be the fly in your ointment, the monkey.
Why that? Why are you?
You want to be away from men. You want your own.
That's what I'm saying. That's not the purpose of a women's retreat. The purpose of a women's retreat is not to be away from men. Does that make sense?
Well, they don't want to see me or have me come around them or anything, you know. But they were willing to have me be here and you know, coexist with me. Yeah, so I just immediately felt that you know, me as a man being here, you know, is not what these women want.
Yeah, that's what I think is the misperception. Maybe you could say, oh, maybe that's not an ideal scenario, that there's a man on the property, but that's different than them wanting to be away from men. It's because they're creating a container for women, and that happens to look a little bit differently. A man being there looks a little bit differently than the original setup. But does that make you a fly in the ointment? You know what I mean? That is the part that you are taking it really personally, making it like you're bad or a man is bad, and that's not what the intention ever was, from my perspective, leading women's retreat, how I would feel, how Anon would feel. You know,
Well,
Anon wants, you know, has wanted, like in our retreat, wanted, you know, Zoltan to come, and I've had to say, no, you just can't, because that's just not what these women signed up for. But it's not because anybody hates men. It's just so the women can let loose or whatever their reasons are. But the reason is not we don't like men. The reason is not men bother us. Is that distinction helpful?
Right. Yeah. I can see how, you know, I was thinking about myself, you know, the feeling like I was, you know, imposing.
Yeah, that was, I see it as that was your perspective. If it was me leading the retreat, I wouldn't feel you were imposing. I would feel I need to work with it, work around it, because I've led a women's retreat, but it never would you be a bother to me. I would still need to work around it, and I'd still need to tell you when it would be appropriate for you to walk by and when it wouldn't, but I would never, ever, ever for a second consider you a burden. I would consider you the caretaker that was very needed there, and we just work around.
It's going to be interesting because I do so many functions to keep this place running, and if I leave,
I think that is acknowledged, and I think that's where the defensiveness maybe comes in, that you need to defend or prove that. And I see that. I've only been to a Kuaha once for a retreat. That was very seen. Anon sees that. We had a conversation last night about how stoked we are that you're there. We had a conversation all day yesterday when we were driving, how amazing you are, how you like are this person who has this low impact on the environment, how you actually help a retreat center run so that we can use the retreat center. And like we were talking all about impact on the world and doing good things, and it was just like, oh, how's Bob Shines really showing us how you could live, how you don't need to drive, and yet you are keeping a retreat center running so that women can come and have a women's retreat, you know. So we were seeing all the goodness.
Well, thank you
for
for that.
You to do the same.
Yeah, so yeah, she wanted Zoltan to come here and do massage or whatever. Yeah. They said no.
Nope.
Okay, so all of that's really fun, and it's great for Bob to know that he's loved and everyone appreciates him and everything like that. And at the same time, there could be the perception of someone coming up to you and say, you know what, Bob, I don't like men. Period. I don't like them, and I don't
Right.
like you, Bob, because you're a man.
Hmm.
So it's like okay, that's what it comes down to. It's having that perception. It's like you're not going to heal. You're not going to heal the guilty thought in your mind by getting people to acknowledge that you're a good guy. Okay? You're not going to get that. You're not going to heal it like that. You're not going to heal it like that. It's not going to happen. It's just a distraction.
Hmm.
It's going to heal in your mind. And the only way it's going to heal in your mind is if you address that it actually is coming from your own mind.
Mm.
Okay. You don't need accolades from anyone. You don't need that. Okay. We already know. Okay. We already know that you're awesome. Everyone knows. Everyone already knows that everyone is awesome. We're just making up stories.
Hmm.
Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Forget about whatever it is that you think they think because it's projected from you. Okay?
Yeah, I can see that because they didn't respond. They didn't feel that way about me, that I was the fly in their ointment.
Yeah. And so what if they did?
Right. Yeah, you're saying but anyway, so now the whole energy is like moving me out, and Michelle says I can get her truck and come and live at her place and see what other options are open.
It's time for new it's time for new opportunities for healing. That's what that means.
Right. And to think that I'm coming back to her because I had when I was at Guy and Yoshie's, the kind of uptight, stern Japanese woman, and then of course then I had Michelle. You were there for that. How I had difficulties with her, and then of course you were there for Marjan. Marjan was another one, and now. Darshan, the girlfriend that lived here for a while, was one of the worst. The way she treated me, and then now this is happening with Darshan. So maybe I can come full circle and come back with Michelle because she's been working with you. You've been working with her about the issues she's having. I remember you mentioned something about it on a wisdom dialogue. How you had worked with her and recommended, how she could approach the guy that wouldn't leave and everything. So, and then of course you're there every Monday. So it's just feeling like coming back, and I'm here talking to you now. So that's why I felt this draw to come back to you. And, it's like here I helped to inaugurate your career. It's just so amazing and exciting. Each webinar you have a new fangled, service, and now you've got books, you've got websites, you've got, your message is wanting to go out into the world and be heard and recognized. So, that's one of the big draws for me to come back. I feel drawn to this healing, this healing energy that you invite us to participate in with you.
Yeah.
So then, Michelle and I can get back together. She's very delighted to have me come back and work with me. And so then I'll be seeing you on Monday, and you're just right down the road in Hawaiian Beaches. I'd love to, just come and visit and hang out sometime.
How fun.
Right.
All right. I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Right. Yes. So, maybe Michelle and I can actually watch together this YouTube video afterwards and have a dialogue about it. And of course we can dialogue with you about it on Monday because I'll be there on Monday.
Oh, wonderful. Well, you don't have to try. You don't have to try at all because all the patterns are going to arise for you. They're all they're gonna just start to come up. And just watch any uncomfortable feeling, and remember, you're making a choice right now. You're either making a choice to believe that she's separate from you and is putting something on you or coming at you, or you're recognizing you're being just willing, just a little willing, to recognize that you're making it all up in the moment where you feel upset. Just a little bit willing to recognize that you're making it up. And in that being willing to make it up, you don't need anyone to confirm that you are a good guy. You don't need anyone to confirm that you're doing a good job, because nothing's happening. Nothing's happening, and it's only you. See?
So basically, aren't we just making everything up?
Yes.
There's that book, The Disappearance of the Universe. You know, it disappears because the universe is built on this projection of guilt.
Right. And you know, it's like when even when I have the perception of you, that's why I know that I know there's nothing wrong. I know you know exactly what you're doing. You know, even when I have the perception of you seeming as if you're not able to pull down the miracle in the moment, I know you're able. I know you are able. You know exactly what you're doing, and you're putting on a show for me because I asked you to.
So here I called in to put on a show for you too.
Yes, thank you. So thank you.
Right. Well,
it's all just for recognizing what's really true. And I know that the reason why I know that you're going to call forth the miracle. I know you're going to call forth the miracle in the illusion is because I see right through this kind of facade you're giving me right here, where it seems as if there's something wrong with Bob. Bob's kind of flawed and he can't do it. It's like, I know you can, and I know the only reason you haven't is because it hasn't been your choice yet, and you know exactly what you're doing. You're giving yourself exactly the lessons you need, and you're giving everyone who perceives you exactly the lessons that are necessary. See? So I know I know it's going, and it might be very soon.
Okay, I'm ready today.
Good. Then just keep on looking at how you're making a story. Whenever you feel bad, you're making a story, and be willing to admit to yourself that you're making that up. You're making it up about Darshan. You're making it up about all the women on the retreat. You know, even making up having Molly come over here and tell you how great you are, just so you could feel a little better.
Well, that's very kind of her. I
know.
appreciate.
Molly's the best.
Right. Yeah. She was here for a while. You know, they had kind of a healing, cleansing retreat, and Molly and I got to hang out together, so she knows the scene here.
She's the sweetest. She's the sweetest.
Right.
Yeah. And at the same time, you can deal with someone who's not sweet like that. You know, you can deal with someone who's not sweet. Just take what Molly said to you and keep that with you all the time, no matter what. You know you're sweet. But the thing is, when you take on this idea, like, I know I'm innocent, but then I'm getting this projection that I'm not innocent, that's kind of like a defensive innocence. Okay, so that's like an ego. It's actually arrogance. It's not innocence, it's arrogance. Okay, I know I'm innocent, so why are you showing me that I'm not? You know, it's like it puts the onus on the other person, where it's you making it look like you're not innocent so you can claim it. In the midst of that, you're claiming it. And to claim it doesn't mean to separate yourself from the other person. You know, that's not how it is. In claiming it, it's more like recognizing that what you're perceiving of the other person can't really be a true perception. It can't be a real perception. It can't be a real thing. Because if you're innocent, then that can't be real. That can't be real. So see, the ego's kind of innocence is really arrogance, because it's to make the other person, what they're doing to you, wrong. to make that wrong. Is it, since I'm innocent, this is wrong what you're doing to me. See?
So, but I'm making it up to help myself get in touch with this guilt so that I can feel it and be free of it.
That's right. That's a good way of looking at it. But you know, just be careful there, because I hear a little bit of something, I sense a little bit of something in your voice where you're still making yourself guilty for that guilt.
Mm.
We all are going through this all the time, me included. Okay, me included. You know, whatever you see of me enlightened and all that other stuff, you know, I get a perception that I've done it wrong too. I get the perception I've done it wrong too. The only difference is when I get the perception, I know that there's actually nothing wrong with anyone, anywhere. And I can be excited because they're basically showing me what I've been saying behind the scenes that I couldn't see. I needed that so that I could see what I've been saying to myself underneath, in secret. See?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm flawed at all. It's not that I'm flawed at all. But if I'm keeping secrets from myself, then I'm upholding the world. I'm extending time. And you know, I know that extending time isn't really what I'm looking for here. I'm looking to shorten time. I'm looking to shorten time a lot. So when I get that opportunity, I'm excited about the opportunity. And that's any kind of upset. It's any kind of upset, even if someone just expresses a little bit of frustration with me. If I notice a thought, you know, about maybe my husband not being kind enough to me or something like that, any kind of something like that, I have to be willing to admit that I made it up. Otherwise, all I'm doing is causing conflict in my life. I'm causing conflict in my family. And I can tell you, a couple of months ago, I had the perception of my husband like he was totally just not cutting it for like probably, I don't know, maybe like a couple days. Maybe like a couple days where it felt like that. And I found myself following the thoughts, and in the same, and as I'm finding myself, there's this wavering going back and forth to, no, I'm making this up, to nobody's really fucked up. No, but I'm making this up. Nobody's really fucked up. You know, it's like we all, anyone who you can perceive as a body is going through these kinds of things. You know, you're not alone in this. It's like anyone is going through these kinds of things. And it's like as long as we go back to, it's like coming back to, you know, what Jesus would call repent. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? Jesus would call that repent. We go back to, hey, I'm making all of this up for healing. That's all. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with them. And then that's how it shakes out. And all of a sudden, in one instant, the whole thing's wiped clean. I never have to say anything to my husband. In fact, unless he watches this video or hears about it some way, it like another video, because it's not like it's not like he's gonna hear, oh, you know, I heard you're such an asshole to your wife or something. He doesn't know about it. He doesn't even need to know. He never even needed to know, because you know, I knew enough. I was definitely blind, but still knowing enough to not go speak this to him. You know, not go speak it out to him. Like, hey, you should be. And then it was the funniest thing, because all of a sudden I get my period. I see the blood of my period. And it's like, that just like triggered something to where like, oh, I just made all that up for a couple days. That was fun.
So
and then it's back to, okay, it's like, and it's not just back to normal, so to speak, but there's so much cleared out because of that willingness to see that I've been making it all up. It's not like you've stuffed it back down and try to maintain life as usual, but it's actually getting healed because of this willingness to keep coming back to what's really true. Just keep again and again, keep coming back to what's really true. See?
So that's why this keeps happening to me over and over with the women, that they're trying to show me myself, and I'm defending against myself. Basically. You're
defending, yeah. You're totally, you see the defensiveness, right? When you say a fly in your ointment, that's all so defensive. And even if they came up and told you, Bob, you know what, you are a fly in our ointment.
Mm.
See, even if they got, it's like, oh, thanks, you know. It's like, but it's in a way where it's like, thank you for letting me know, thank you for letting me know, because they don't just say that and you put up a wall like, oh, thanks, and I'm still fine over here. They say that and you feel it. So it's like this thanks for this feeling that I'm getting right now, because that feeling, going through that feeling, is what brings forth the miracle.
Mm.
Yeah. Bob, you are such a fly in your ointment. You are such a fly in our ointment. And you're like, oh, thanks for letting me know. Is there anything I can do?
Mm.
Is there anything I can do to help you feel better? I just want you to go away. Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know that too. And then you go and you just be with your feeling. Take care of your feeling. And you'll
Mm.
see those patterns. You'll see those patterns just wash away. It's really sweet. And you know what I saw with my husband, like there was all this thinking like, man, he just doesn't care about me. Just getting into your own thing, you know, just getting into your own thing. He doesn't care about me enough and all this other stuff. And then once it just washes away, he looks so freaking kind
Mm.
and so caring and so just all about me, you know. It's just totally something that I just make up. You know, and that and it may or may not play out like that for you right away, but it will eventually play out when there's nothing disturbing your mind. Everyone is so sweet and caring toward you.
Mm.
Everyone is. And if you are willing to admit that any perception of anyone not being sweet and caring toward you is just your own mind projecting that, and not like you're flawed, but like fun.
Mm.
Because in the healing, you're healing our shared mind, and you know how appreciated you are just for going through that, even when you can't accept the healing.
Mm.
Because even when you're, let me say, not say you can't accept the healing, you don't choose to. Even when you don't choose to accept the healing because you feel like you can't, you're so appreciated because you're learning so much, and you're getting to the point where you will be willing to make that choice, because you'll know that it's the only choice that serves you, and it's the only a choice that heals all of us in our shared mind.
Mm. Right. Yeah. So I can see how I've made that all up. The fly in your ointment.
Yes, and so next time you're just a little bit more clear, aren't you? And
Right.
a little bit more focused.
Right. Yeah. I'm a blessing. I'm a godsend to these women.
Yeah, of course you
Yeah,
are.
Bob.
There it is. And that's you're a blessing and a godsend for anyone who looks upon you.
That's it.
No matter what, no matter how you seem to be manifesting yourself, you always are, but you don't have to prove that to anyone. And when you try to prove it to someone, that's defensiveness.
Right. Then anytime you try to do anything. Huh?
That's right. The teaching is your gentleness, your kindness, your loving way. It's not, the teaching isn't you trying to make some concept about yourself be recognized by someone else.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
It's your gentleness in the midst of, Bob, you're an asshole.
Mm.
Okay?
Thank you for your gentleness.
I love you.
Okay, I love you. So yeah, I guess I hope to see you Monday.
Well, it sounds like you will. This is really exciting.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So okay, I love you. I don't go on to the next topic.
Okay. Aloha.
It's so exciting that you're there at Anand's, and there's Molly, and Anand's going to show up here any minute, and it all just seems so connected somehow. It's amazing.
I know, it's wonderful.
Right. So we are all one, and it's just, you just feel like everything is kind of coming together, is kind of, meshing and weaving together into this what you're bringing forth, this healing transformation.
I see that it's so fun. Just the circle of friends, like Molly,
Mm.
It's like she just keeps on popping up again and again in all these different ways, and it's like, whoa, it's like Molly, Anon, Kristen, you, Lori, everyone who comes on here, Anastasia, I don't know if I said that right today. There's not a right way. It all sounds beautiful however I say her name.
Right. Yeah, there's so many
Yeah.
ways Anna says yours.
Hey, Julia.
Julia, Sylvia, thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay.
I'm gonna try something. If you get off, come back on. Okay. If you go all the way off, come back on. I'm gonna see if I can remove you from panelists and you land back an attendee. It's not because you're a man, I promise.
Okay.
In fact, you're not a man.
Right. Yeah. So you talked about as long as you're visible, then you
Oh
still.
no, I'm not gonna do that to you. It says you
Oh.
won't do the rejoin.
Yeah, well, the fact is we're just invisible space. We're
Yeah.
the space of awareness that doesn't require any form for our existence, that
Yeah.
we are the space that generates the form. So that's why as long as we're stuck in a form, identified with a form, then we're the prisoner of that form.
Yes, apparently.
Apparently, right. There it is. Another thing we're making up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not really stuck in a form. We're making a choice. You know, in any instant, if there was a choice for heaven, then this world wouldn't be seen. But there's something that there's something that's a hidden, but it comes up. It's a hidden choice, but it comes up in day-to-day thoughts. What that choice, and it's that's always an opportunity to choose again.
Okay, well, I choose love.
Yay. All right. I'm
thank
changing
you.
your role to attendee. I love you.
Okay, see you soon.
Okay, aloha. There, that's how you do it. You don't remove him. If I remove him, he can't even come back on. That's hardcore. You'd really feel like a man in that case. All right. So you
flies all over me right
Oh, they're hanging on you. Yeah, they're all around you. Wow. Yeah, I've had that happen on Wisdom Dialogues. Lori's been like, "What the hell? How are you even talking with flies landing on your head?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
On your face. They were landing on your face.
I
And
know.
You didn't move. You didn't even.
Hey, I'm on Wisdom Dialogues. I'm focused on something else, not the fly.
I was going to say during all that, the minute you feel like a victim, defense, anger, woe is me,
Yeah.
all that separation right there.
Right. And that's you calling for love. And the only one who can really answer that call is you. When it's lovely. It's absolutely lovely to have someone tell you how wonderful you are, but that is not that's not how you're going to heal your mind. Is it? Because that's up to you, because that call for love, that's for you. And that's always what it is. I was talking about that with kids. On one of my posts, I was talking about, I had the middle finger kid flipping people off, guy, and I was saying rudeness isn't a curse; it's a blessing, because then you can recognize the call for love, and you can also answer it. See, and that call for love is coming from your own mind. Because you're feeling upset, if you're, unless you're not, but if you're feeling upset that someone's being rude to you, that call for love is actually, it's calling for you to allow that compassion for yourself. And then that's when it flows outward, and you can see everyone calm down. Maybe the little kid doesn't need the middle finger anymore, doesn't need the fuck you anymore.
Because as soon as you're judging that person, you're judging yourself.
Yes. And that's exactly what goes on too when
you need compassion.
Yeah, that's why you need it. It's you who needs it, not the other person. So it's like having someone say you're doing it wrong. That's your mind calling for love. And what happens with the ego wants you to take it to the opposite and say, "Hey, I deserve love. Why are you treating me like that? Give it to me." And if you're trying to get it from the outer world, that's just a sign that you're not giving it to yourself. You're not willing to give it to yourself. You don't want to. It would rather have an illusion.
But the ego doesn't believe that it deserves love. That's what it's about.
It's an ego. Do you see the way the ego belief, the ego belief, it takes love. The ego takes love to be something else than what it really is.
Right.
You know, like love is fear. So yes, the ego would definitely agree that you are deserving of love, but it's a different kind of love. I deserve it. And you gotta give it to me.
At the same time, I'm not worthy.
Yes. And see, as long as that's why, you know, it's like the ego's mantra is look for it in the world and never find it. Look for it in the world and never find it. Because it's like I'm deserving of love, and it's this kind of love that has to be given to you from someone in the world. And you know, temporarily you may feel that that's been fulfilled, but that's always going to change. It's shifty. That kind of love is very shifty. You know, when you've given yourself love, you've given yourself access, so to speak, to the love that you are. You know that because it's not shifty.
Right. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yes.
No matter what's happening out there, you're never going to find that love out there.
No.
No matter how hard you look.
That's right. No matter, and you know, you could say that Tony is one of the best dudes you could possibly, I mean, people who know him are like, oh my gosh, how are you having such a good dude like that? Like, where do I find one of those, you know? Still, I cannot rely on that for my love. You cannot rely on, you know, you can get the most loving, adoring, fantastic person in the whole world. Still, if you're perceiving yourself as a body, which we all are, if we're talking here, we are. We're perceiving ourselves as a body, it's going to be shifty, and we're going to feel unloved once again because it's all our own feeling. It doesn't really matter how great the person is.
Well, if you don't recognize it in yourself, that if you have the so-called great husband, you don't feel worthy of it.
Yes, that's right. So you're going to make him into something.
Yeah.
You're going to make him into something. And I've noticed that as a theme for me, you know, being with the same dude for 25 years, you know, there's been a lot of times where he's shown me that he's a really good guy, you know, and at some point the guilt within me for, you know, having him, because I didn't feel like I was really good enough for that, would build up to where I'd get mean and kind of like, what's the word? Cold. And then finally I just broke down in tears, and I'm like, why do you even want me? You know, why do you even want me? It's just this self-judgment. It's always like, I'm not good enough. And then on the other hand, it'll be like, you know, that's so shifty. It'll be like, is he even good enough for me? You know, go back and forth like that. It's hilarious. I'm not good enough. Wait a minute. Is he even good enough for me? It's great. That's how the ego plays. And it's fun to watch how the play is, because then we can seize those opportunities to see that these are just thoughts passing and they're completely meaningless.
Completely.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I see quite a few people on here. Aloha, Jonathan. Thank you for coming on. If anyone would like to speak with me, please go ahead and raise your hand. You do not have to come on video, just so you know. It's an option for you, but you don't have to. It does get recorded. It is on Facebook Live right now, and it's also going to be posted to YouTube later, just so you know. Also, you're free to be anonymous here. You're free to write something to me and say, I'm anonymous. Okay? You can even use Anon's name. Just put Anon. And then I'll know, for short, you know. And then I'll know, and I can address anything you would like. Okay. So I see something over here right now. Oh, thank you. Mary's on, and she's writing to me on a Facebook message. So if I'm making it all up and I'm essentially the only being on the planet, I have complete control and power over everything. Yes, that's right. And you know, the way Jesus said it is you have dominion. Dominion. Okay? So that's a lot different than what the ego would call control and power over everything. Not that I'm saying you're saying it that way or anything, just for illustration. It's not the same as having control and power over everything like the ego would take it. It's more like whatever is occurring to you, you can call in the miracle, and the miracle is grace. See, so that's why it's so fun. That's what I'm thinking anyway. And now that's what I'm thinking anyway. And now the fun part. Yes. And that's what makes it so fun. See, in the new age kind of way, the kind of more popular, like new age kind of way, it's this idea that we're controlling our reality. We're creating, let's say this, we're creating our reality. Okay. Yes. In a sense that's true. But what we're seeing here is not our creation. See, we as a creation are created in love, and our creations can only be like us. It cannot be unlike us. The world that we perceive is unlike us. It's unlike how we are. It's unlike who we are. And you know, if anyone has a question about that, like how could you say that? Well, death is part of it. Okay. So that's one real easy way to know that this is not how we are, because death is part of it. So we're not creating anything that we perceive here. We are creating 100% of the time. It's just that we don't see our creations. We cannot perceive our creations in this world. Our creations are being held perfectly safe for us in reality once we get done with making the choice to uphold this idea that we're guilty. Okay. And yeah, that's what makes it really fun, because what we're perceiving here is all a perception of guilty consciousness. And when we bring in the miracle, it's like you express reality within the illusion, and that's what undoes it. It sort of unwinds this. It's like there's this big wall of thought built up over time, and it's like this wall is getting torn down. And sometimes it'll be really sudden because something really big will come, or maybe it's some pattern where you felt guilty about this thing so much, and now someone's coming up and telling you you're doing it again. You're doing it again. And maybe in that moment, you feel so grateful that such a huge healing takes place. Whenever that occurs, you know, you have shortened time so much, not just for yourself, but for everyone, because it's a shared mind. And still, everyone has to make the choice for themselves. You cannot make the choice for them, but you make that choice easier for everyone. You make that choice a little bit closer, you know, because the only thing that prevents anyone from making the choice is fear. So the only way we're upholding this illusion is fear of making the choice that destroys the illusion. It like burns it in fire. Aw, oh yay! I see some comments on the video now. How fun! I wonder if it's still on. I don't know. It's funny on here. It is. You can see it. Oh, how fun! Okay, I love that. All right. Okay, so here's a question. Hi, Hope. Love your talks. Oh, thank you, my love. Nice to hear from you. Looking forward to chatting you. Right now, I just got you on like the radio as I clean up. Oh, how fun! Oh, thank you. Thank you for bringing me with you. Thank you for bringing me with you while you clean up. That's wonderful. I appreciate that. I hear that often. Like people are listening while they're doing their chores or cleaning up like that. And you know what? I really appreciate that, because I know that most of the thoughts that come all day long are conditioned thoughts. And when you're listening to wisdom dialogues, you're changing that wiring. You're like allowing that habitual thinking to be rewired, you know. And so it really brings me joy when I hear some of my friends say, you know what, I listen, and then I take you with me throughout my day. Like whenever I feel inspired, I just keep on listening again and again. And I'm like, so I feel so good about that, because that's a choice right there. That's a choice for truth over illusion. And over and over again like that, that's working to bring it to bring it so that the miracle becomes the only choice that you can make in the moment. It's the only, because that it's what serves you. I've talked before about how you cannot make a choice against what you think is in your best interest. You cannot make a choice against what you think is in your best interest. So if there's a perception that something went wrong, like for instance, I'll give you a real simple one that seems really benign, but none of them are benign. I ordered a drink the other day and it seemed like it was way too hot. In fact, it was too hot for me to drink before I went into a place, so I had to like toss it, and it was like cost like $10. Lori's face, she's like, "What the fuck are you doing ordering a $10 drink?"
No, throwing it away.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
it was warm.
It was not warm. It was piping hot. So it was funny because when I ordered it, I said, "Can you warm it up a little?" But see, so here's the thing. Here's where the choice is being made in the moment. Because as soon as it's recognized, oh, I'm not even going to be able to drink this. I had one sip of it. The thought, number one, $10 down the drain. Number two, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with those people making it so freaking hot? They really need to learn how to do that better, And
waste.
Waste. And why can't I bring it into the theater? And so the reason I'm bringing this up, so I can illustrate to you how healing happens. So if I don't recognize those thoughts as being something where that's actually a choice point right there for me, whether to take those thoughts as true, then I would be building up what could be called a grievance. And this is like a heaviness in the body's energy field. It leads to sickness. It leads to accidents. It leads to conflict between people. So do you see how it's so common? It's so common to have a thought that something has gone wrong. And, like Mary saying, this power that we have over everything, this power, when it's exercised in this instant, it's just a matter of recognizing that these thoughts have no meaning. You're not giving any meaning to them. That means no power. That means no grievance. That means no sickness is coming from them. You've just reclaimed your power from those things that seem to be victimizing you. And these opportunities are coming very fast and all day long. And a lot of them may pass you by. But as you get more and more focused, and this just comes from willingness, as you become more and more focused, you're going to see how to heal again and again and again. And, it's at some point, there's going to be no more physical manifestation. It's going to be such a beautiful surprise. It's going to be such a beautiful surprise to know who you are. And, people ask me, well, how do you know if you haven't seen? Well, I know because I'm getting this information from the teachers of teachers. I'm getting this information from the teachers of teachers because of a willingness to know it. Okay, it's just a willingness to open up and know it. And anyone can be, unless there's fear against it, and that's also a choice. Anyone can be open to hearing from these unembodied teachers of teachers because they know, they have seen. And here's another Bible verse. It's like, blessed are they who have seen and believe. Yeah. But even more blessed are they who have not seen and believe. So it's like it's like believing in the unseen. The world will give you all kinds of things to believe in that are seen. There's all kinds of evidence that there's no possible way that there's any reality of which I speak. There's all kinds of evidence like that. But it's like, are you willing to believe in the unseen? If you are, then you start getting these messages just like I do. from the teachers of teachers, and it puts it puts you in a state of grace where you receive this information. Lori was just talking about it earlier. When she opens herself up to be in that teaching role, she just receives the information and finds herself talking stuff that she's never heard before or even thought of. And that's how it is. And for me, it's ongoing all day long because of the willingness. It's only because of the willingness. Like something comes up and maybe it says, oh my God, Hope, how are you even going to pay those bills? That's too much. And there's just a willingness. It's like, oh, there's the illusion. And then it's the thoughts that come are so healing and beautiful. It doesn't really matter. Whatever arose on the surface, whatever it seemed to be on the surface, it just doesn't really matter. And that's what the illusion is for, is to bring up this, oh no, whatever it is, they could die doing that, or, you know, whatever it is. Scarcity consciousness, what else? Fear of the law. I've had that one come up before too. Oh no, I don't want that law. I know the abortion thing has been prevalent lately. This abortion ban, you know, has no power over anyone. That has no power over anyone. See, because whether you get pregnant, have an abortion or not, nothing happened. That's why it has no power over anyone. See, so if you buy into that something has power over you, that's where you get into the ego's game, so to speak. All the laws, all they are is an ego game. They don't have any power over you. They may seem to have apparent power over you, but you give that to them. They cannot have any kind of power over you that you do not give that you do not give to them. And if you do perceive them having any kind of apparent power over you, be glad that you gave yourself that perception, because it's only for healing. At a point, you'll even see all those laws are completely meaningless. You know. I had a friend ask me recently about my new book, called Unschooling for Parents. By the way, if you haven't seen it, go to hopejohnson.org. A friend was asking me, what about the legalities of unschooling your kids? Should, you know, that come up, the unschooling for your kid? My book really isn't about unschooling for your kid. It's unschooling for parents. But if reality comes up, you know, like that, or that kind of perceived reality comes up where you're running up against some sort of law, well, that's what my book talks about, is that all of these things are an illusion. It doesn't even talk about laws specifically. It talks about a lot of other illusions that have to do with parenting. But it's like that. If there's a law that says, hey, you know, you can't just pull your kid out, you have to report to us and all this kind of stuff. Well, maybe you will find yourself reporting to them. You don't know, because it's right in the moment. Maybe you will. But the main thing is there's a willingness to recognize that you can honor your child's expression of choice. You're not going to be punished. You are not going to be punished for honoring your child's choice. You're going to perceive yourself being punished if you take on shame or guilt. And if you take it on is also to project it. So if you project as if the school system is screwed up, guess what? You're setting yourself up for perceptions of punishment. You go into court. My son and I went to court before. My big son and I went to court before. He wasn't into going to school as much as they thought he should be going to school when he was enrolled. But my son and I found ourselves in court. And, you know, it worked out beautifully. It turned out beautiful. And you know, my son asked me, how are you able to talk to the judge like that? How are you able to get it out like that? Like, I felt so nervous. And, well, you know, a couple things. I don't see the judge as being separate. You know, he seems to have a much different costume than I have on, you know. And he's sitting up a lot higher than I am, but I know that's just for the play. And also, and this is the biggest thing, I don't hold the judgment like this is wrong, like this is going wrong. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to be wherever I find myself, because I know that wherever I find myself is the opportunity to be an expression of love and to bring reality in, to bring a taste of reality into the illusion. And, that's why when I've had the thought occur to me, oh my God, what if I go to jail for this? What if I go to jail? And it didn't have anything to do with my kids. It had to do with thinking that I was doing my taxes wrong and I was getting in big trouble, and then realizing within that, I asked for help. I asked for help in that because I was so distraught. I was so angry and sad and worried. And I asked for help in that. And what came to me is that you are freaking awesome wherever you are, even if you go to jail. So I was like completely, or prison or whatever it is. So I was completely open to that. I felt my body's, and as soon as that help came in recognizing that, Hope, wherever you find yourself, that's where the miracle happens. So don't be afraid of where you find yourself. So by the time the agent walked in, I felt so open to going to jail. We just hit it off beautifully, and it seemed like everything that I said was just perfectly exactly what she needed to hear in order to exonerate me. See, and it seemed like that's what she wanted to do too. And she told me that it doesn't normally go like this. She said, normally I am the biggest, fattest bulldog. No one wants me around because I'm the best at getting the most. I'm the best at getting the most money for the IRS. And she gave me a no change. She's like, it's not usually like that. But the way she put it is, you have all your stuff such in good order. All of your things are, and that's just, and that's just part of what the miracle manifesting like that. I certainly didn't feel like that before that. Certainly didn't feel like that. And that, just the openness. Oh, you want to see that? Oh, why don't you just come on over to my computer then, and we'll just like look at it together right here. It's like it recognizing that, well, there's nothing to try to hide. Could be completely authentic. There's nothing to try to hide because everything is for healing. And then, oh yeah, it's perfect. And that was the first time. She told me that was the first time she had actually you to know anything. We made a mistake.
They made a mistake?
Yeah, that's what she said. Of course, I know that's not true, but yeah, that's what she said. We obviously made a mistake in targeting you.
Wow.
Yeah. And I could see, I had some long conversations with her, and I could see that when she would walk in, people would have such a chip on their shoulder that this shouldn't be happening. In fact, my thought before the healing came, before the help came that I asked for, which was like 10 minutes before she walked in the door, was about how the IRS needs to be abolished. But then I softened. So if she walks in and you're holding the thought that the IRS is illegitimate and needs to be abolished like that, then she can feel that.
Yeah. And
she's going to be looking with a very sharp eye for all of the ways that she can cause you pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And see, this is very different. The IRS needs to be abolished. Is very different from there's no IRS. Very different. It's a very different energy, because then we're there to serve our function, which is loving and being loved, no matter the outcome, letting the chips fall wherever they may, and being there for loving and being loved with no defensiveness, with no thought of I need to protect myself, with no thought of it's a threat, with no worry about what's going to become of me.
I'm a victim of them.
Yes, exactly. People can feel you. People can totally feel you. Okay?
I bought your book today on Kindle.
Yay! Thank you. That's so fun. Oh, will you leave a review too? Oh, people, if you have bought my book on Amazon or downloaded it for free, I know if you have Amazon Prime, you can get it on for free. Do you have Amazon Prime?
I do.
Oh, maybe it's not Amazon Prime then. It's what is it? I don't know. It says it on mine. Okay, I'm gonna go in and see what it says, just so I could tell everyone what the deal is, because it's treating me like a customer too when I go in there.
It's Kindle something.
Yeah.
You got to sign up for something and you get 2 free books, and yours is one.
Okay. Yeah. I get it. Kindle Unlimited. So I think it's because I'm paying a monthly fee for Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can download it for free. And then there's also the paperback book. It's called Unschooling for Parents. I recommend picking it up whether you're a parent or not. It's super easy to read in really short. Yeah, Kindle Unlimited. It's really short chapters. Well, except for the one on discipline and punishment. I kind of went on and on that one because, it really took a lot for me to even see that there's really, there's no need for this. There's no need for any kind of discipline or punishment. So I went on and on about that one. But, even in my going on and on, I'm spacing it up, splitting it up so it's easily digestible. There's the paper book, the Kindle. They have pictures. There's like 15 pictures, 15 family pictures. Also, a great conclusion by my daughter, Akea, at the end. I start recording for audio. I'm doing my second run on recording for audio because I wasn't super pleased with the quality. I really wanted to make it more like an art project where anyone who listens to it really doesn't pick up on, wow, this is some shitty audio or something. So I'm recording it for the second time, and we'll see how that goes. So at some point, maybe in a couple months or so, or a month and a half, it'll be available on Audible with my voice reading it. Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
Yes, and please leave reviews on Amazon. Now it's very, very helpful. It does a lot. So yeah, if you like other people to see this, which of course there's no other people, it's our own mind. But the relief in reading something like this, the relief in feeling this pressure, and that makes it so that it feels like something that you really want to share. Because that's what we're really here to do, is help ourselves and help each other relieve this pressure of societal guilt and shame and what we've put on ourselves as if we're separate and alone. Okay? Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love you. So does anyone have anything for me? Raise your hand if you do, or just write me something. I'll check again on Facebook to see if anyone's writing anything that's asking for my attention here. Okay, got the message. And, I'm scrolling for parents. Oh, there's a video. Okay, so people are on that. Okay, just a few. Happy. Oh, aloha, Eve. My sister came on. I love you. Thank you. Oh, my sister Eve got your book yesterday. Yay, Janelyn. I love you. Thank you. Oh, Molly put a wave on there. That's so fun. Okay, so if anyone has any more questions for me here while I'm live, please ask away. Also, Miracle Botanicals is my essential oil line. I know that I've said that before, and sometimes people don't know that that's my essential oil line. We actually ship it out of our home in Hawaiian beaches, and people who know our products know that we have the best stuff. Like, we just source the best stuff. That's just the way we do it. That's the way we do it. We pay for the best stuff. We don't screw around with trying to get a good deal and give a lower quality product. We do get the best, and people also are super stoked about our prices for the best. And that's because we're not MLM or anything like that. We're just a family-owned business. If you go to our website, miraclebotanicals.com.
What's MLM?
Multi-level marketing.
Oh.
It's kind of like a pyramid type thing. That's how the big ones are. I'm not going to say their names. I almost did. The big essential oil companies are. It's a multi-level marketing. So when you buy something, you're expected to be on some kind of a program where you keep buying over and over again, and you also get other people to buy otherwise you pay exorbitant prices. We're not like that. You can just come and one-off us. I mean, sometimes people come on our site and they buy a $10 item and get free shipping, and that's all they get. You know, you don't have to like spend a fortune to get the good stuff. We also have stuff in a way higher price range because that's how essential oils are. They started really low, real reasonable, nice price for some great stuff too, you know. If you go to our website, miraclebotanicals.com, we've recently added shopper approved, and I'm super stoked about that because then you get to see what people have been saying about us. Apparently what shopper approved does is contact our customers and say, hey, would you like to say something about your experience with Miracle Botanicals? And I'm just so grateful the way these reviews are coming in. People are just, the way they're talking about us and how grateful they are for our prices and our product and our services. I'm so stoked that they're able to write that down and it's there for others to see. So yeah, if you want to check it out, miraclebotanicals.com. Oh, and this is just to let you guys know, there is going to be a sale coming up for Father's Day. It'll be a Father's Day sale. My daughter Ikea is in charge of all that stuff, and she loves to play on the holidays like that. So have a look out for that. It's probably going to be some pretty good discounts. Okay, sign up for the mailing list and you'll get all the information. But if you just come on around Father's Day, I don't know when it's going to start, but if you just come on, it's automatic. You get the discount. There'll be a banner and everything. So I have another hand. This is so fun. It's Yulia. Allow Yulia to talk. Okay, and then I must unmute her. No, she unmuted herself.
Well, it gave me an option, so I did.
It's funny because it looks like it's giving me an option over here.
Yeah, maybe it gave both of us an option.
Yeah. That's fun. Hey, aloha, Yulia.
Aloha, aloha. It's good to be here again.
You want to be on video?
Nah, not today.
Okay.
Another time, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing up that bit about the IRS.
Oh, you're welcome.
We seem to always have some parallel issues.
Some what?
Maybe. We seem to have parallel issues occasionally.
Oh, that is so fun. that hasn't been for like 6 or 7 years, but it definitely.
Well, it doesn't look as scary as yours, but
It's scary.
As scary. It's not as scary as I made it. You're not making it as scary as I made it. Congratulations.
But I'm making it a little scary.
Okay. Okay. All right. Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm working right now with someone, just, interacting daily for work with someone who has a very, very sick kid.
Okay.
And I get to hear a lot about the vaccines and how the vaccines, bring on certain conditions, and about the evils of big pharma and other such things.
Yes.
And
Goes on a lot.
I'm having an occasional, maybe not a storm of thoughts, but mildly attacking thoughts.
Okay.
Where I feel like I need to say something. I need to somehow say something helpful, but I can't say what I really think because I don't feel like I could. I don't feel like this person would, really be open to that.
Okay.
Even though they're a pretty cool, open person in general.
Mm-hmm.
If I say something like, this is not really a problem and your kid is not really there and not sick and, nothing is really happening, I feel like that's not going to help. So I'm being a bit more diplomatic.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I know.
Probably right about that.
But I'm feeling like this, it causes a bit of a pressure,
Yes. Well, because you feel like you want to relieve some of this anxiety but the anxiety that you see, that's coming within yourself. You see, the ego makes it into this way, like there's someone else out there that needs you to help them. And
Yeah, and there's always this thought like, how could I possibly say to her it's not a problem if she's the one that she's living with it, you know?
yeah, and you really cannot possibly say anything. So
Right.
either the words are going to come out of the guidance of ego, or out of the guidance of whatever you want to call it, Buddha, whatever you want to call it. I call it Holy Spirit. You can call it anything. If it's your words are going to be guided by one guide or the other. There's two guides in the mind. So if you think that you have to say something by yourself, then that's taking on the ego's guidance. See? Whenever you believe a thought that says that you have to say something yourself, you would have to say something yourself. So you just put yourself more in an open space, So when the thought arises, that pressure arises, like you should be saying something, just get the feeling, because the words are coming automatically. Remember, the words are the past playing out.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting those feelings as well. I mean, those thoughts too. You know, I get reminded.
Good.
Down. Like I remember I get caught up. I remember I get caught up. You know, it's just kind of like waves in the ocean.
That's right. So when you find yourself hearing all these things, making a lot of illusions real, like big pharma and the kid and the vaccination,
and a very sick kid, yes,
and the sickness and everything, get the feeling of that in your own body's energy field. You knowing what's true and getting the feeling in your own body's energy field is enough. You don't have to say anything. You could be on silence. You don't have to say a thing, you know. And then in that way, whatever, and if and when you do find yourself speaking, you're speaking under the guidance of the it's like you could say it's the good guidance. It's the good guidance. It's the guidance that has you speak in a way that demonstrates that only reality is real, that there's nothing that's threatening. There's absolutely nothing that's threatening, and only reality is real. But you know, if you just say those words without being guided toward those words, what you're going to perceive is defensiveness. So if you ever say any words and you perceive defensiveness in the other person, that's how you know you went with the dark guide, you could say.
You know, what I do rather, I usually, you know, sometimes I do say something that seems to be accepted, and it does seem to come from a good place, but most of the time I feel like I'm acting, you know. I do a good job of being a very good diplomat.
Okay.
Staying in.
Yeah. Well, you know,
and then I feel a little weird about that, you know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So basically, instead of telling the whole truth, you're kind of just like nodding and everything like that. Let that be okay.
Right.
Let that be okay. Let it play out like that, because as soon as you need to see how to speak, what to say, it will present itself. Don't hold it against yourself. Just watch it like a show. You're like, I've seen the same thing where within myself, where I'll just smile. I'll find myself smiling and nodding for whatever they're saying.
See, I'll do more than that. I'll refer to some experience or something I had where I say, I see where you're coming from. I remember feeling the same about this, like about the presence, for instance.
Great. That's wonderful. There's nothing at all wrong with that. There's absolutely no problem with that. It's all about in your own mind when you're coming back around and saying, I wish I wasn't talking like that. I wish I was talking like this instead. I'd rather be talking like this. It's all coming back to, can you just accept how it's arising right now?
Right.
It's not going wrong. It's never going wrong. Even if you're coming up and saying, you're talking complete illusion, is never going wrong. You just completely embrace that feeling that's being presented to you, and that's how your mind learns. To be more and more clear and also more and more gentle at the same time, clear and gentle at the same time. It's like a dance, but you get it. You get it through having the experience without judgment.
Yes, yes,
Going
I
through the
remember
experience.
that. There's no judgment. There's nothing wrong with that person, you know. And
Yes.
whenever I start getting thoughts like, "Oh, you have too much, victim mentality, and too
They
much,"
know what they're doing. That's what I come back
that's
to.
bullshit too, you know.
Yes. That, and what I always come back to is they know what they're doing.
You say what?
I always come back to they know what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
See? So then it's not like, oh, they're just unenlightened. They just don't know. No, they know what they're doing. They're making a choice, and it's always a conscious one.
Right.
Yeah. Whoa, I got a big old chat right now really fast. My goodness.
You got what?
Big old
Whoa.
chat, come on. I don't know if everyone can see it.
I can't see.
My name, I prefer to be anonymous. Okay, wonderful. You stay anonymous. No one can see you but me and Lori, and Lori's not going to say it. Oh, well. As this webinar ensured, I deeply felt an aha moment coming on, a remembrance. I am starting to see a reflection of confirmation in how the Bible, Anastasia, A Course in Miracles are all related. That's right. And Yulia even brought up today the book is the Tao Te Ching, right?
Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu.
Yes, and that too. They all
Yes.
serve as tools for us to remember ourselves, to forgive ourselves, and so on. My main question relates to our earth and sustainability. Great, I love that question. Why is it that I felt connected and protected by nature my whole life and basically completely surrendered to the beauty? Yet I am challenged by seeing our world devolving in certain ways. Okay, you're challenging yourself. There's no world. There's no world. What you're perceiving is what is a choice you're making in order to make the world appear real to you. This is what makes your ego, you could say your separate sense of self, real, is seeing this evolving world. Are you saying something, Lori?
That's what she goes on to say. I realize I'm recognizing creating an issue that does not exist.
Wonderful. Thank you. But if many of us see climate change happening and we have the ability to work together to alleviate the issue, no, it's not like that. Isn't that a reflection of us coming together internally to heal, elevate, depollute? Okay, yes, it's a reflection, and that's the whole thing. It's a reflection. We have no ability to do anything in the world. No, none. Absolutely none. What we will perceive, and I don't know if it's going to go down like that, like we're going to perceive ourselves healing the world. I don't know if it's going to go down like that. In fact, I'm being told that it's just going to transform. And it's just going to, like, you're just going to look and it's going to be light. Okay. It's like what I'm being told is get off of that. Get off of that we're going to come together and heal the world, because there's no world. There's absolutely no world. And you'll see that any kind of illusion of getting together and healing the world, that's going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. Well, it's been tried for a long time. It's been tried for a long time, and it keeps on. Look how the perception is so shifty. Just back and forth, back and forth. Here's one thing to really consider. Every path in the world leads to death. Okay, so every path in the world leads to death. It's only in the mind, by reclaiming our power, that leads to eternal life. So the world is meaningless, and however it plays out is not something that we do. So isn't that so fun? Just how we are trying to heal, elevate, and depollute our planet. Yeah, just a thought. Yes, wonderful thought. I love it when people bring that up. I appreciate it so much, because it does seem to play like people are always looking to the illusion and going, okay, when is this going to change? When is this going to change? When is this going to change? And what I'm saying is turn your eyes, turn your focus in. Turn it in. Completely in. Because whatever you're perceiving of the world, it's a blessing. Whether it's polluted or getting polluted or depolluted, those are two opposites. And all opposites are meaningless. Okay? So polluted world, depolluted world, completely the same thing. One of them leads to the other, in fact. Isn't that for fun?
So good.
All right, so it's 5:02 and we've had a wonderful time. Unless someone has something that's pressing right now, I'm going to sign out and go hang out with my friends and my son over here in beautiful Waikoloa. Now the sun's coming out. I don't think I'm going to get a tan. Well, maybe I will at 5. It's pretty strong still. I love you. Thank you. And I'll be back next Tuesday here online. And I'm also in person on Monday. Yeah, there's more to come. Join me on Facebook. I have a new page in case you're not on it. I don't know, shoot me an email. You can reach me at hope@miraclebotanicals.com. You could also reach me at hopejohnson@me.com if that's easier for you to remember. I just activated that one. I love you.
I'm Lori Tibichaw at me.com.
Oh, let's spell Lori's name. THIBOUTOT. I'm reading it. She looked at me like I did a really good job. And I love it. I love how it's like tater tot. Is that how you said to remember it?
That's how I told you. Just
Yeah.
like
Okay, I thought it was something like that. I love that. It makes it so easy. Tibitot. It has certain cadence to it. I appreciate that. Also, Lori does a lot more videos than I do. I do a lot more often. So if you're interested, look her up. That is not a name that's very common, I don't think. So if you type that into Facebook, I think you're going to get her pretty easily. She's also a friend of mine, of course. I love you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who came on and listened today. And thank you for everyone who participated. I appreciate you. Hooray. Aloha. Mahalo. And a hui ho. Yeah.